Hello, grade 10 students! Welcome to lesson for today. Ang pag-aaralan natin ngayon ay tungkol sa modern art at ang iba't ibang art movements nito. Ano nga ba ang modern art? Ang modern art ay nagsimula noong 1860s to 1970s. Ito ang nagsilbing bridge or tulay mula sa classical art papunta sa contemporary art. It is a new way to approach art, leaving the traditional way behind and doing art with new techniques, ideas, and more. Kung mapapansin natin sa traditional art, may pagka-realist ang mga artist and ang mga paintings nila mostly ay religious and portraits. Unlike sa modern art, na iba ang technique ng mga artist, mas malaya na silang i-express ang sarili nilang art sa technique na maisip nila. They go outside the box from classical to modern art. Hindi na sila nakafocus sa mga prim and proper paintings. Instead, they also include in their paintings the daily lives of people, sceneries, their imaginations, or anything they want to express by means of painting or any form of art. There are 7 art movements in modern art. The Impressionism, Fauvism, Surrealism, Dadaism, Cubism, Abstract Expressionism, and Pop Art. Number 1. Impressionism was an art movement that planted the seeds for what we now know as modern art. The movement began in Europe in the mid-1800s and introduced exciting new approaches and techniques for applying the elements of art, particularly color and texture, in ways that gave Impressionist paintings a sense of energy, freshness, and intensity. Impressionism was more concerned with capturing a sense or feel of the subject, in other words, an impression, rather than a realistic rendering. Thus, this movement shifted away from posed scenes created inside studios to everyday, sometimes mundane, subjects painted outside or outdoors in natural light. Let us have the characteristics of Impressionism art. The color and light, everyday subjects, painting outdoors, open composition, and influence of photography. Claude Monet is the father of Impressionism. Here are some of the paintings or artworks of Impressionism. Dito nagsimula kung bakit nagkaroon ng modern art. Kung mapapansin ninyo, sa classical art, mas refined and mas clear ang output ng bawat paintings and more on sa studio lang sila gumagawa ng mga paintings nila. But when modern art started, because of this new art movement, which is the Impressionism, there are some changes on how the artists created their paintings. Here in Impressionism, ang intensyon ng artist ay iparating ang impresyon niya sa isang subject. That is why it is called Impressionism. Also, mas nag-focus ang mga artists to do their paintings outdoor and see the natural light and color of a certain subject. Aside from that, may pagka-soft ang texture ng bawat paintings because of their brush strokes. Dito nagsimula silang mag-paint na hindi pinagsasama-sama ang mga kulay sa mixing palette. But instead, sa mismong canvas nila pinagpapatong-patong ang mga kulay kaya mukhang hindi detailed and precise ang painting ng Impressionism art. Punta naman tayo sa ikalawang art movement, Fauvism. It is the style that used bold, vibrant colors and visual distortions. Its name was derived from Les Fauves, which means wild beasts, referring to the group of French expressionist painters who painted this style. Henri Matisse is considered the founding father of Fauvism. Here are some of the famous paintings from the Fauvism art. One of the major characteristics of Fauvism ay ang vibrant color in every artwork. Color is the main element in Fauvism, wherein ine-express ng mga artist ang nararamdaman nila or ang mood nila sa pamamagitan ng mga kulay na ginagamit nila sa painting. Malaya silang baguhin ang kulay ng kanilang artwork depende sa mood nila. Kita naman ninyo sa mga sample paintings dito. Surrealism. Surrealism was a style that depicted an illogical, subconscious dream world beyond the logical, conscious, and physical one. Its name came from the term superrealism, with its artworks clearly expressing a departure from reality, as though the artists were dreaming, seeing illusions, or experiencing an altered mental state. These are the major characteristics of surrealism. The first one is imaginative, strange, drawn from dreams and imagination, and place unreal objects in unreal situations. Salvador Dali is the famous artist in the surrealism period. Here are some examples of realism art. Sa surrealism, ang main objective nito ay ipakita ang unconscious mind ng artist, yung kanyang fantasy or dreams. Kaya usually ang makikita dito ay floating objects or yung hindi mo talaga makikita in ordinary or in reality. In other words, hindi talaga siya realistic. Pero as much as possible, representational pa din ang mga paintings nito. Tulad nitong kay Salvador Dali na Persistence of Memory. Itong kaunahang picture. Paano niya pinakita ang persistence of memory dito? Una, gumawa siya ng mga figure ng clock or orasan pero floating or malalambot. So ano ang representation nun? Pwedeng ang oras ay lumilipad or lumilipas. That's how surrealism works. Tulad no characteristics nito na place unreal objects in unreal situation, but still giving meaning to the audience. Dadaism art. It is a style characterized by dream fantasies, memory images, and visual tricks and surprises. Although the works appeared playful, the movement arose from the pain that a group of European artists felt after the suffering brought by World War I. Wishing to protest against the civilization that had brought on such horrors, these artists rebelled against established norms and authorities, and against the traditional styles in art. They chose the child's term for hobby horse, Dada, to refer to their new non-style. Here are the characteristics of Dadaism art. There are no rule in Dada. Nonsensical drawing, use collage and layers to confuse the unworthy beholder. Ready-made use of mundane, pastel and faded colors, random, protesting, and absurd. Marc Chagall is the most famous artist in Dadaism art. Samples of Dadaism art. Ang Dadaism art came from the word Dada, somehow means rebellious. Nagsimula kasi ito after the World War I, wherein yung trauma nila after that nag-lead sa mga artists to come up with this kind of art. Kung mapapansin ninyo sa mga art ng Dadaism, ang main objective nito is to show revolt and protest in all authority, government, church, and the likes. Actually, hindi lang through painting makikita ang Dadaism. Makikita din nila ito through posters saying, "We are hungry, stop poverty," and the likes. Or kaya naman makikita nyo ang different figures na pinagsama-sama in one painting or collage of figures in one painting na may malalim na meaning sa situation na nararanasan nila in that point in time. Cubism art. Style derived its name from the cube, a three-dimensional geometric figure composed of strictly measured lines, planes, and angles. Cubist artworks were therefore a play of planes and angles on a flat surface. In earlier styles, subjects were depicted in a three-dimensional manner, formed by light and shadow. In contrast, the Cubists analyzed their subjects' basic geometrical forms and broke them up into a series of planes. Then, they reassembled these planes, tilting and interlocking them in different ways. Basic characteristics of Cubism art. First, it is abstract, broken mirror effect, rearranged, geometric, more than one view, and simplified shapes. Pablo Picasso is the famous Cubist artist in the Cubism art period. Here are some of the Cubism art paintings. In Cubism art, madali natin itong matatandaan just by looking in the painting dahil gumagamit ito ng geometric figures para magkaroon ng angle na two-dimensional or three-dimensional painting. Nagsimula ang ganitong Cubism art kay Pablo Picasso. Dati siyang realist artist, pero hindi niya namamalayan na nagkakaroon na pala siya ng sakit, which is Alzheimer's. Kaya nabago yung technique niya sa pagpipinta. Naging structural or nagiging cube-cube. Ito ang naging epekto sa kanya ng kanyang sakit. Abstract Expressionism. It is working on huge canvas spread on the floor, splattering, squirting, and dribbling paint with no pre-planned pattern or design in mind. The total effect is one of the vitality, creativity, energy made visible artist. Jackson Pollock started this abstract expressionism art. Here are the examples of abstract expressionism art. Sa abstract expressionism naman, ito ay tinatawag na action painting. Ang kakaiba naman dito ay isa itong non-representational or non-objective, meaning wala kang makikita na figures, puro lines or color or layering of lines and color. Ang ginawa dito ni Jackson Pollock, nilagay niya ang canvas sa flat surface or sa floor, unlike the usual na nakatayo or nakapatong sa stand. Tapos, in-spread lang niya ang pintura. And that's it. Pero ang main objective niya dito sa art movement na ito ay walang art na aksidente lang na nagawa. Walang art na basta lang. Yan lahat ay intentional. Lahat pinag-isipan. Kahit abstract expressionism pa yan. Saan mo ilalagay ang kulay? Paano ang guhit na gagawin mo? Saang direksyon? Anong klaseng lines? And anong kulay ang pagpapatong-patungin mo? Yan ang abstract expressionism. Karagdagang impormasyon sa abstract expressionism. Ito ay more on expression kung ano yung nararamdaman mo at that moment. Tulad sa paggamit ng kulay, depende sa mood kung anong kulay yung gagamitin mo at ang mga lines na gagawin mo. It is really expressing yourself and everybody can do this kind of art movement. Let us have the last but not the least art movement, the pop art, or the popular art. It is an art movement that emerged in the United States and United Kingdom during 1950s. The movement presented a challenge through two traditions of the fine art by including imagery from popular and mass culture such as advertising, comic books, and mundane mass-produced cultural objects. One of its aims is to use images of popular culture in art, emphasizing the banal or kitschy elements of any culture, most often through the use of irony. It is also associated with the artist's use of mechanical means of reproduction or rendering techniques. In pop art, material is sometimes visually removed from its known context, isolated, or combined with unrelated material. Andy Warhol is the founder of popular art, and here are some examples of popular art paintings. Here are the characteristics of popular art. Icon of popular culture as the main focus, features object from advertising, bold, bright, often neon colors, focus on the lines and contours of the object or subject, background that makes the subject pop such as dots, repetition of the object, comic style layout. Ang pop art or popular art ay nagsimula noong 1950s. Ang founder nito ay si Andy Warhol. Gumawa siya ng isang board na kung saan ang ginamit niyang figure ay isang famous or iconic na babae, which is si Marilyn Monroe, na sikat noong panahong iyon. Madalas ang subject ng painting sa pop art ay mga icons or imagery from popular to mass media during that time. Ito din ay ginagamit sa mga mass culture tulad ng comics, magazines, flyers, advertisement, or mga products na mas ginagamit ng masa para mas makilala ito. We are done about the 7 art movements of modern art. Sana may natutunan kayo ngayong araw na ito. Kung nagustuhan mo ang maiksing discussion na ito, maaari ninyong i-share sa inyong mga kaklase upang lubusan nilang maintindihan ang iba't ibang art movements. Salamat sa pakikinig. Paalam!